Okay, so the kit comes with two spare wheels, but only one spare tire. So I've got 19 tires and 20 wheels, two of which are spares. Um, and so as not to let this one go to waste, I think I'm going to I'll drill out the actual lugs. This is supposed to, of course, be mounted to the winch, um, just like this one is. That's how the thing is intended, and then with an actual tire on it. Um, but having this extra wheel here, I thought I'd try and use it. So I'll have to shave off and drill out the existing lugs that would have gone onto the mount. But then the main thing is, as you guys all know, is a wheel. Instead of having this proud band that sits up the tire beads on the Tamiya nylon tires and makes them look all nice and flush, on a real wheel that would be concaved, and it would be, you'd have basically that'd be dished in almost in reverse of what it is. Instead of having a proud band, um, you'd basically have a stamped, these are three-piece wheels, but you definitely have a concaved area down in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and mount it. I'm going to use a little crazy glue just because I don't have a great mandrel that hole's fairly large. I think I'll probably just shoot a little cyanoacrylate and mount it to my handy DeWalt drill here and make a small lathe out of it, and then turn it down with a sanding stick. Hopefully this will have to see how fast this spins and how much heat it generates. But a combination of files, sanding sticks, probably some rounded files, and some X-Acto knives to machine this down so that it looks like an actual wheel. Put some ridges in it, some strengthening ridges, and see how that goes. So I'll come back after I have this attached, and we'll give it a spin, so to speak. Okay, so I did get this mounted. It's fairly true. This is a lot slower than a Dremel tool, which was the point. You spin stuff in Dremel tools, it's really easy to get them to melt down. So we can modulate our speed with this much more when we get the Dremel tool. I've got two sizes of triangle file here and then a round. And I can't find my half round and square files, but these little needle files are super handy for this sort of thing. So I'm going to try and do the bulk of this with the larger triangle file and just kind of get this thing wedged into a good position where I can, maybe we'll go the other way so it's pulling away from the tool, and just kind of like we were saying, take this away, take a peek at it, get it looking like a truck wheel instead of a model of a truck wheel, and use it as some extra diorama gear. So let's give it a shot and see how it goes. It's checking the material though. Having the desired effect. We'll use an edge. That way it'll cool a little bit more in between passes. Okay, and we'll be having to put some more glue back onto it. Stand by. Put a little bit too much pressure on there. Gonna have to let the tool do the work. Alright, I've been trying a couple different tools. The file was removing material at a pretty good rate. Actually, a coarse sanding stick is taking it down pretty well. It is just going to be a matter of time. It doesn't remove a whole lot of material at once. And I don't want to spin it too fast. I was going to try, see what happens if we just take the edge of an X-Acto knife, kind of like a That may be the ticket. That's removing material quickly. Got some different blades. I might put a router blade on this. Oh yeah, that worked out good. Working just like a lathe. I can actually just cut this out of here. No, it's not on there. Got to work it down a little bit at a time. If you ever needed threads of plastic, stretching sprue gets it thin, but I'll tell you what, this is amazingly thin stuff. Not sure what I would really use that for, but it's almost like a thread, and it's all styrene. Keep that out of that glue that I had going. That's taking this down rapidly. So we should be able to shape our wheel pretty well when the time comes here. Don't want that to continue to melt onto, it comes right off though, so. Probably shouldn't be doing this where I have that wet glue open for the All right, we're almost to a point where we can start working on the concave portion of this. Run it back out here. Okay, we're pretty flush, so now I just need to be real careful that I don't go through the rim. And try to put some depth into this. I'm going to work from the center out. I may screw it up, but we'll see. It's a spare part that we wouldn't have needed and wouldn't have got any use out of anyway, so we might as well give it a shot and see what happens. to turn around and go the other direction with it, just because of my left-handedness. We'll be doing some vacuuming after this, for sure. None of this is getting hot enough that I'm smelling any styrene. This is just shavings coming off, so I don't think we're making any toxicity. I'm going to hit it with a sanding stick and just get the burrs off of it. I think we're making moderate success here. Now the way to do it is definitely with the cutter. I'm going to try I'm going to try and get a router knife and see if that gets me down there quicker. Stand by. One of the things of sharing tools, we are a household of makers, is sometimes my stuff isn't where I expect it to be, but that's okay. I think the issue I was having was the steepness of the angle of the number 11 blade. So this guy, or lack thereof, this guy's a little steeper angle to it, and I think I can get it right down in there and work it back and forth and get it some good results here. So we'll get after it again. Dusty. I think we're having the desired results here. Going to show you guys our progress. So we've gone from where we had that very proud band, trying to get the angle here so it shows you, down to where we're actually making it concave like a wheel would be. We'll just keep shaping it, taking a little bit of time, checking our work, and hopefully we can get this to look like a pretty decent representation of a normal truck wheel. We are making lots of dust, lots of shavings. Whoops. Stand by, sports fan. Okay, so I was running into an issue where when I tried to blow the styrene dust away, I was moving and blowing my smaller model pieces away too, which I don't really want to be doing. So in order to eliminate that issue, we just moved the whole cutting board. I don't know how good the contrast is going to be here, you guys, but we're just going to continue to shape our wheel here. One of the cool things about building models is you figure out different ways to do things. Some of them you learn from other people, some of them you invent on your own. Some work, some don't. Some work better than others. Like I said, this is kind of a sacrificial piece anyway, so if it comes out fine, then great. But there's a pretty good chance we'll cook right through this wheel, melt it, dig too deep, melt too deep. But it'll be fun trying, and we'll come away with a new bit of knowledge either way. There's a great line in the movie. I can't think of it now. With the lions, Ghost in the Darkness, where they're talking about their traps, and you know, did it work? Well, in point of fact, it didn't. But I still think it was a good idea. That's kind of a lot of what model building is. Anyway, we'll get back after it here. I'm trying to get the contour of the blade to where I want the inner portion of the wheel to be. Actually, slower works a little better with the shaving technique here. I'll rock it. A little different contour here. Depending on how detailed we want to get, probably end up having to put a hole or two in this where a straighter valve would come through, etc., to fill the tire where the tube would sit. We're having pretty good luck with this. You guys can see we've definitely, get it to focus here, we've definitely taken it down. We're getting that concave look to where it's starting to look like a wheel. Maybe we'll try and change up tools here. I wonder if we can cut with the tip of a file. Maybe even with this emery board. I started out using this emery board a little bit. Not quite the right width, but let's see what happens if we just use the edge of it. Not as effective as a X-Acto knife. How about the X-Acto knife is definitely the way to go. Seems to work best to have the blade trailing a little bit. You see how that material is just coming right off of there? When I get behind, oh, we have some funky wobble here. Let's take a look at what we got. I think we're alright. Depth-wise, I think we're okay on that side. Kind of want to be able to turn this around to chamfer this a little more too. It's got a really nice angle on this side, and it's just a straight down right angle on this side. It is what it is. kind of find a sweet spot of angle where you're taking up a lot of material. Again, don't want to take off too much. Yeah, we're getting a really nice lip on this one side just because of the shape of the blade. I'm getting pretty happy with that. You get to the point where you don't want to take off too much material. I'd like to be able to chamfer this out a little bit more, but I don't know. Maybe if I come at it backhanded like this. I know that probably doesn't work for you guys to be able to see what's going on very good, but maybe if I turn it, reverse the drill, put it on this side, will you guys be able to see that better? I don't want to cut through that lip, but it is chamfering it very nicely. Definitely want to be pulling, so to speak. It's all looking good. Maybe if I angle the knife a little bit. I'd like to have like another stepped ridge is what I'd really like to have. Let me see what we can do here. This probably isn't the best view for you guys. Trying to see where my cutting tool is there. Yeah, I think if I had a different shape, exact out, maybe a rounded. We've got some number 10s, some little number 10s that are rounded that we could put in there. Yeah, they're really not tight enough radius. We could shorten our cutting angle just by twisting this, maybe. See if that got us, if anything. Yeah, we're starting to get a little different shape of opening there. Just a too flat and uniform, you know. Wheel, you get those strengthening ridges, and spending an awful lot of time on a spare diorama part, but it's kind of fun experimenting. definitely like doing it backhanded, and just trying that for the view for you guys. But this definitely works better for me. Don't want to get it so hot that it moves away from us. Yeah, if I could get that center to open up a little bit, I mean, we're doing great here. It's looking really good. How much more I want to take that? What do you guys think? It's, it's supposed to be a 3-piece wheel. Take a little bit more. Maybe we'll just take another tool and put some ridges in it, and we'll call it done. Get to the point where we go just a little bit too far and wreck it. And it's like, how much is enough, you know? It's a nice smooth finish right now, too. I think maybe we're getting close to calling it. Kind of like to get a little more material off of there, but being a 3-piece wheel, it would have, you know, a band and a couple of rims around it. And I'm looking at the inner, we probably got like 1/2 millimeter that we can take more just to get it really pronounced and concave. Well, there's probably very nice aftermarket parts that would do exactly what we're trying to do here with minimal effort. It's kind of fun coming up with new techniques and taking something that otherwise wouldn't even really be suitable for the spares box and getting a nice piece out of it. Yeah, it's coming down nicely. Just a little bit from each side, you know. Material off of here. See what I'm doing. really like the angle coming out of that. I'm gonna try and duplicate it on this side, then I think maybe we'll call it done. That's a really nice angle. What do you guys think? Looks like a wheel to me. I'll just hit it with a sanding stick to smooth it, knock some of these burrs off. Got a nice piece for a diorama. It needs to be a bead, like a bead locker. No, it's not really a bead locker, but it needs to be a more pronounced bead. Actually, like cutting through the lip. There we go, that's looking better. Tell you what, I'm covered in olive drab styrene though, having done this. You can hear where it's out of balance a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's maybe we'll hit it with the rounded file just to give it a little contour here and there. That might have been exactly what it needed. I wonder what the tip of this does. Take those ridges out with this thing. Nicely polished down. I think we're at a point where it's almost like if it ain't busted, don't fix it kind of thing. We're rapidly approaching that. Let me just get this. Finished nice and smooth. There we go. A bit more off of this side. Sanding stick down. Man, I'm really liking that. I'm really liking that edge a lot better than this edge, though. I'm not sure how much more material I can sneak out of this. Man, that's looking really good. Kind of think I don't mess with it now. Maybe we'll take a piece of styrene, actually, really thin styrene, and wrap for those strengthening bands. But it's looking pretty good. This has been the longest segment we've done on this so far, too. Sorry it's been 20 minutes. We'll probably run this at a high speed. I'm tempted to break it off of here and call it done, but very close to burning through right there. It would be nice to have, like, I need to look at the contour of a different one. Here we go. Where's let me find one of the dually wheels. Hold on a minute. So, well, it's pretty flush along there. I guess there aren't really many strengthening bands. Maybe we'll just call it. I think we call it. Went from looking, you can see the protruding band there, to being concave, which is what we were, let me see if I can get a better angle, what we were hoping for. I think with a little work, that'll be a decent looking spare wheel. I think that'll be a decent looking spare wheel. Let's snap it off. Come on, baby. I'm gonna have to put a little acetone on it. Go a little deeper, but I don't want to risk. I don't want to push our luck. And it'll look the part the way it is, you know. Guess we could do this. Making that just a little bit so we can get this glue off here. One side's coming off real good. There's a lip actually on there. We go. Oh, what happened? Oh, look at that. We got so close. Actually, maybe that's kind of cool. So just as I was wiggling it back and forth to pull it off, it actually bent on me. That's how thin and how close our tolerance was when we were working it. I think I can get that back out. Or a bent wheel, with that being that thin, a bent wheel may be a really cool element. So I think it's salvageable. I put it back there. Man, we worked that through right to the edge. We were remember I was talking about a little bit more is too much. We were right on the edge of that. So it looks like we can straighten that back out and make a decent spare wheel out of it. But we have the option to make it look like they whacked a rock, or, you know, maybe they had aired down to get somewhere and whacked a rock really good on their rim and had to pull it off. We've got options. That's what model building's about. So that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for going down that rabbit hole with me. I think we've got a good spare wheel here, or we've got a really interesting bent wheel that, you know, would tell a little story. Yeah, that's all. I think some of the best models I've seen tell a story, and that could be a good element in ours. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Okay, so just sort of finishing touches on the wheel project here. We talked about removing the lugs from the inside and opening those holes up. And so I had started that process from the back side here with an X-Acto knife just to get a hole in there. And now we'll just kind of finish off going through with a slightly smaller, I don't know if you guys can see that at all, probably not, slightly smaller drill bit in our pin vise. And then we'll just kind of finish shaping those out. Actually, it's not a bad diameter. Living in Wyoming, I can't just run down to the hobby shop and get myself some more drill bits whenever I need to, or, you know, get the exact size easily. So we got to kind of make stuff work. I'm sure any of you that have been building for a while are used to just making stuff work as well. Let's see one more. So once these pilot holes are in, I'll be able to enlarge them a little bit if necessary with the X-Acto knife and fully remove those lugs from the other side, which for the most part they're pretty gone. I think a couple of quick swipes from the inside, if I can get in there. Shoot, I didn't think about that angle. A couple of quick, yeah, it's working. A couple of quick swipes like that with the X-Acto knife will take off what's left of the detail from those lugs, nuts and studs, and leave us with a great looking spare wheel with no tire. A little bonus part. You guys seeing how those are going right away? It's just some of them I nailed it, and I went right up through the middle of the stud with that smaller blade, and it's like the nut. The nut is still in there without a stud on it. This is a good example of that. This one right here is. But of course, that's not very realistic, so we'll just knock those off. Yeah, so a few finishing touches. We've got a decent spare wheel here. Just opening up these holes, making them uniform. I'm pretty happy with that, guys. Got a spare wheel, and we have the option of making it look like it took a shot on a rock or something, because we got that so thin on that rim, on that lip. So anyway, thanks for watching.